So hello guys, today we are going to take an AMA with Big Time, and we have our guest Matthew with us from Big Time team. He's the guild lead in Big Time, and we are very glad to have him here. So before that, we'll introduce ourselves. So I'm Sage Omega, founder of Sage Esports, and with us we have Sage Sasuke bro.
Hello guys, I'm Sasuke, co-founder and CEO of Sage Esports, and I'm giving you a short introduction about Sage. Sage is an organization, esport organization as well as a guild, but currently we are mainly focused in Web3 space. So we educate gamer about Web3 space by hosting VC sessions, webinar, creating content on social media. We have up and running program like scholarship and learning program and Web3 content creators program. Sage work as an ambassador as well.
So Matthew, can you give us a brief intro about yourself and what you do in Big Time, so our Indian audience can know better?
Yep.
Big Time is a multiplayer RPG game where you can earn cosmetics as droppable loot, and those are NFTs. And so the way the gameplay works is a user starts in a large world, they can roam it, and then they find dungeons that are scattered throughout that world. Those dungeons are randomly generated and they appear and disappear. And then when you drop into them, you can solo them, you can have up to 6 people, and then you battle through and complete some side quests, beat mobs, and defeat some monsters as well.
Oh, that's so cool. Actually, we have played Big Time, so we can understand that. And what's your part in Big Time?
So I'm the guild manager with Big Time. So for guilds that bring in large player bases, I work with them pretty closely to make sure that I can answer their questions and then engage with their communities if possible. And then sometimes I also do social media outreach, so I tend to do a lot of our Twitter spaces or AMAs as well.
That's we are doing right now.
Yep, exactly.
So we have noticed like Big Time has really very good experience teamed with them. Like they have worked with Riot, Blizzard, and Activision as well. So
yeah, we had people who worked at Fortnite as well, and have worked on some other iconic games. For example, Gears of War and League of Legends.
Yeah,
so we have
Grand
a very
Theft Auto, I think. Right? Grand Theft Auto is there as well.
I'm not sure about that one, but it's possible. I don't know their entire. I don't have all of their resumes memorized, but definitely some pretty impressive people on the team.
Yeah. So we can start the AMA by the questions.
Questions and answers.
When we can expect the open beta and the game complete launch?
I would say it's going to be in the first quarter of 2023. It's still quite far away, but the content inside of the game and the functionality inside the game is going to increase significantly between then. So the next big thing for us is when users can redeem their space and actually start setting it up inside the game, that'll be a very good functionality increase and content increase for them. And then after that, users are going to actually be able to use their space, collect the in-game token, and start forging on their own. And then we're also going to introduce the new level, which is called Epic City. So a whole new world for people to explore. They can start crafting and making their own NFTs, and then after that will be the open beta. So even if you're playing in early access, you're going to be able to discover some new stuff and really have an enjoyable experience.
Yeah.
Sounds really great, actually.
Yeah, it's good.
So I have next question. So who is your main targeted audience? Like, is it for PC only or for console users as well? Like
it's
gamepad controls also.
It's just for PC right now. I've seen some players who have connected consoles or console controllers to their computers in order to play, and I think they've been having a lot of fun doing that. Eventually, I think we would like to move to consoles, but a big part of that move involves actually having those companies and the people who run the consoles start accepting NFTs on their platforms as well.
Yeah, actually, like our audience base is like most of the people like console games actually.
Yeah, exactly.
So they were asking about the console thing, so we put that question.
It's a great question. I'd love to be on consoles, and to convert from PC to console is pretty simple. You generally have to kind of detune some things to reduce the advantage that PC players have, but it's really cool, and it's not that different in terms of gameplay. But unfortunately, we need the gaming companies that make those things to be acceptable to NFTs.
But you have plans in your mind, so we can see a console collaboration in future.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe.
They're definitely out there.
We are really excited for that. So, when will the guild support feature launches, and what are the benefits for the guilds?
It should happen during the invite-only beta, definitely prior to global launch. So some of the features are going to include ways to rent out your space to other players, so that way you can control the management that way. And additionally, we're looking at adding in some features that allow guilds to be competitive with each other. So in a,
Yeah,
in a
that will.
friendly, yeah, in like a friendly way. And it's going to include some ways to stay up to date with your community, as well as rank and see who's finding the most and the best stuff.
Yeah, guild versus guild things.
For sure.
By the way, is it going to be 6 players only, or you are planning to increase that as well?
In the guild?
No, not in the guild.
Not in guild.
As a multiplayer mode, we can play up to 6 players now.
Oh, so
Yeah.
yeah, that'll change a little bit, but it'll change based on the type of world that you're playing in. So, for example, in Epic City, you're going to be able to, it'll be in an open world with NPCs, so a little
okay.
bit of a different style gameplay. I haven't heard plans discussed about changing it inside of Time's End, but we may be able to do something different in the other worlds where they have a very different style of gameplay and a different focus.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
So regarding to the spaces, can we share my space with our scholars and members, like with our guild members? The
Yes.
in-game space.
Yeah, you will be able to. That's how the space rental system works. So, let's say
Okay.
you like Omega owns a space and he wants
Mhm.
Scholar Matt to play it and start collecting it and have that Time Warden enabled so that I can go and collect the in-game token. But that Time Warden is on his space. He's going to be able to rent that out to me.
Oh,
Okay,
Awesome.
sounds good.
Yeah.
And this question is very important for the guild, especially because how would the space value increase over the time? Like, do you have planned something?
Space is completely dictated by player-to-player transactions. That's how the space is set. There are the prices set. So we don't do anything on that. We don't interfere with the markets. That's all player-to-player who do
The
that.
value depend on the players only.
Yeah, it depends on the players, but what I can tell you is that we're going to be putting a lot more players into the game. And so when there's a lot more players inside of the game and there's,
Less
a
supply.
relatively set amount of supply of space, it tends to push things in a certain direction.
Yeah.
So with the whole supply and demand thing.
That's true.
Okay. And how will Big Time sustain game economy? Like
Well, what was that?
Big Time, how sustain game economy?
Is this a question about the in-game economy?
Yeah, in-game
in-game
token,
economy.
as you said, later on it will be like minting from the game only. The in-game token.
In-game token and NFTs, all the in-game economy. How
Uh,
Big Time?
Okay. It's a complicated question to try and answer just verbally, but happy to do. I'll do my best. So,
Okay.
when you have space, inside of it you can put a time warden, a forge, and an armory. And let's say this is Omega, who has this space, and then the time warden, the forge, and the armory. He's going to turn on his time warden so that he is on basically a countdown timer, and for several days or hours, when he battles through these dungeons, the token can drop as he beats a mob or a boss, and so he can pick up the token that way. Let's say during his battles he finds a sword that's rare, and then he can take it back to his space or his forge, or excuse me, the forge which is in his space, and then he can upgrade it. So he combines some tokens, he buys that base layer NFT, puts it into the forge, and then out comes a more rare version of that item.
Okay, so these are the use cases for the tokens.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. And
That's
how do guilds benefit from this economy model?
Well, the main thing is, Big Time doesn't sell any cosmetic skins. It's all player to player. So the competition really becomes about finding the NFTs and finding the tokens
Okay.
and upgrading as much as you can. Because they're not in competition with Big Time for selling those things. They drop in the game, but we don't sell them. So it makes it's going to be very much a player run economy. And the way I generally envision guilds operating is they are one, a source of players for you to co-play with, so that way you always have like a group and a community to play with. And you also know that the NFT drop rates are higher when you play in a larger group. So that's their first use, is like a group of players. Number two is they are going to be the primary space owners. So they just tend to have a lot of space. They are going to have their players out there grinding. And then those players are going to bring those items back to the space for their guild. And that's where the upgrading of the process is going to work.
Okay. Now that all makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can see that there are very strong returns to having more players inside of your guild. So if you have more players, you can find more NFTs, you can level up faster, and that's good. So that's where we kind of encourage people, like, find a community to play with, and it's going to make it a lot easier and more enjoyable for you.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah. And then the main thing is, like, especially as you have space, you're going to be able to really control that supply of the NFTs inside the game. People who are playing during early access, like during gold, silver, or jade, saw an NFT drop rate that was way higher than it will ever be during the game. So because we have decreased that supply of NFTs inside the game, now it's going to be on guilds to go out there and find more and to really run that market.
So now I have one question. Like, how do Big Time is planning to preserve the NFT value over the time? Is there any NFT burning mechanism, NFT burn type of thing? Anything like this in Big Time? Because many players are come, then NFT mint every time. So is there any burning mechanism?
I don't think I'm trying to figure out how to answer this. Short answer is, like, if you upgrade a sword or something like that from level 1 to level 2, then there is no more of the level 1 version of the sword.
Yeah.
So it's not so much that they're burned, it's that there's a big supply.
Okay, so if I upgraded my sword to level 2, the level 1 was not there. So.
Yeah,
it's gone.
Got burned.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's gone. So I guess that's the burning mechanism of it. And there is a fixed supply of the token, and then anytime you use it for the upgrading, it goes back into the player environment.
Ah, okay. And is it possible to share how much backing you have in Big Time? Like, is it possible?
We raised $22 million between our Series A. Our Series A fundraising in May of 2021 raised about $11 million. And then we did a guild round for a small group of guilds who contributed about another $11 million. Together, that was $22 million. And then since the inception of Big Time, we, really over the last year or so, we've sold $110 million in NFTs.
Oh, that's a lot of funding you have.
Yeah, it's been good. Some of that is the bull market. You have to acknowledge that. It was a slightly different time in 2021 versus 2022, but we're still building during this period. Yeah.
Okay. So this is the last question. What feature we can expect in future development? If you want to give any hints, like any future development.
Yeah. A lot of what's coming down the pipeline has been released in our Medium article that has a timeline in it. And in that timeline, I talked about where users are going to be able to redeem their space. And then after that, we move to an invite-only beta where you can start making your own NFTs and collecting the in-game token. And then eventually we'll move to the open beta. The best way to check it out is to check out our Medium. We have a Medium page, medium.com/playbigtime, and there's a timeline on there. And that way you can see kind of in more detail what I was outlining here. But that's the main thing users can look forward to. In the short term, the one thing they can really look forward to is we have a tournament in about next weekend. And next weekend, when we are running this tournament, there's a $10,000 prize pool. So super exciting stuff.
Yeah.
So how to join?
How to join? Oh,
yeah.
Well, I'll send you guys a link to it. But it's being run by a group called the Inner Core. And the Inner Core is a guild inside of Big Time, and they're opening up. So if you guys are playing the game and you can get up to a team of 6, then you can start playing. And they're going to have 32 people or 32 teams inside of it, and then promoting it as well.
Yeah,
That's
we'll
awesome.
definitely join. We have
Yeah.
a team.
Yeah, you should apply. I think applications close tomorrow, so make sure you get in.
We'll apply this as soon as possible after
Yep.
this meet.
Yeah, man.
Love it.
So our questions are done. Anything you wanna ask or share?
Something.
No, I think that's just about it. I think I've already leaked some pretty good stuff here, and then also get a chance to chat about the tournament. That's always been super important to me. So great stuff. Thank you so much for having me on.
And also for our audience, in future, any tournaments are planning? Like after this tournament, is there any tournament?
Yeah, we'll do. So we're not running this tournament. We're just sponsoring it.
Okay.
But the easiest way to get involved for
Mhm.
more tournament updates is to follow our Twitter and our Twitch. So if you go to our Twitter, which is @PlayBigTime, or our Twitch, which is Big Time Studios, and you follow there, then you're going to be able to get the latest updates.
Oh, definitely we'll do that. As well, do Big Time have any ambassador or content creator program?
We do, yeah. We have an ambassador program where if you're a content creator and you have at least 1,000 followers, then you can make content for Big Time, and what you do is you get compensated for any purchases that are derived using your content creator code or link, and so that way, like, people are directly kind of compensated for what they're doing on behalf of the Big Time community in terms of driving
Yeah.
sales. Yeah,
So is it live or is it over?
it's live. Yeah. So
live.
we reach out to content creators and players inside the game, and if they kind of fill out our application, we read it over and make sure that they're a good fit for Big Time, and then we go from there.
Can you share that link? So, like, we do have content creator as well. We also create
So,
content.
yeah.
Sure. The easiest way is to send me their Twitch page or whatever they're streaming on. It's YouTube or something like that. And if they have people playing, I'd love to check it out. It's not for everybody. It's somewhat exclusive. So I'll be happy to take a look over their stuff, make sure that they're a good possible ambassador, and we'll get them involved with Big Time.
Oh, sounds good. So we'll definitely share.
Fantastic.
So it was really good talking with you,
Yeah.
Matthew, and we'll definitely do more AMA in future.
Love it. Looking forward to it.
Okay, so thank you so much for joining us.
All right, guys. Thank you so much.
We'll
Thanks.
see you soon.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Take care.